There was a moment that the cameras almost missed, a moment so small, so quiet, that the shelter workers almost didn't notice it was happening. But when they did, one of them covered her mouth. Another one grabbed the cage bars just to steady herself. And the third one started crying before she even understood why. Because standing in the middle of that cold, gray kennel floor was a 4-year-old little girl, one arm, yellow shirt, denim overalls. And she was doing something that grown men, trained professionals, had refused to do for over 2 years. She was sitting down right in front of him. Now, before I tell you what happened next, I need you to understand something about this dog. Because this isn't just a story about a little girl and a shelter animal. This is a story about two broken things, finding each other at exactly the right moment. And what happened in that kennel that afternoon changed every single person who witnessed it, forever. His name was Rex, but the shelter workers had a different name for him. They called him Ghost, not because he was white, he wasn't. Rex was a skinny, dark brown, mixed breed with brindle patches across his back and the most hollow, empty eyes you've ever seen on a living creature. They called him Ghost because he had completely disappeared inside himself. When Rex first arrived at Maplewood Animal Shelter in Ohio, he was found alone on the side of a highway. No collar, no chip, no name, just bones wrapped in fur, shaking in the rain. The vet estimated he was about 3 years old. And the injuries they found on his body told a story that nobody in that shelter wanted to read. Old scars, healed fractures, a torn ear that had never been treated. Whatever Rex had lived through before that highway, it had destroyed something in him. The shelter staff tried everything. Senior volunteers with 20 years of experience sat outside his kennel for hours, just talking softly, trying to build trust. Nothing. Dog behaviorists were brought in from Columbus. Rex wouldn't even look at them. He would press himself into the far corner of his kennel, turn his back to the world, and just wait. For what? Nobody knew. Families came to the shelter on weekends. Children pressed their faces against the cage bars, giggling, pointing. Rex never moved, never responded. The shelter director, a woman named Karen Holloway, I began having quiet conversations behind closed doors. Conversations about timelines. Conversations about what happens when a dog simply refuses to come back to life. 2 years passed, 730 days, and every single morning, Rex woke up in that kennel corner, still waiting, still alone, still Ghost. On a Saturday morning in early November, a woman named Sarah Mitchell drove to Maplewood Shelter with her daughter. Her daughter's name was Lily. Lily was 4 years old. She had big brown eyes, wild curly hair, pulled into a messy bun, and she was wearing her absolute favorite outfit. A bright yellow t-shirt under denim dungaree overalls with little patch stickers on the knees. Lily also had only one arm. Her left arm ended just below her shoulder. She had been born that way. And in her 4 short years on this earth, Lily Mitchell had never once let that stop her from doing anything. She climbed jungle gyms, she painted, she kicked soccer balls, and today, she wanted a dog. Sarah had been nervous about bringing Lily to the shelter, not because of Lily's arm, but because shelters can be overwhelming, loud, chaotic, emotional. She didn't want Lily to get attached to an animal and then face a heartbreak. But Lily had asked every single day for 3 months, so here they were. The shelter worker who greeted them, a young woman named Tara, gave them the tour. Happy dogs, yapping puppies, wagging tails. Lily walked through calmly, politely, but she didn't stop. She kept walking. Further down the corridor, toward the section that Tara had quietly decided to skip. The section where Ghost lived. Honey, let's go back this way. But Lily had already stopped. In front of kennel number 14, she stood completely still, her one small hand wrapped around a cage bar, peering inside. Rex was in his corner, back turned, same as always. Tara stepped forward quickly. "Oh, sweetheart, that one is... he's not really available for... He's sad," Lily said. Just like that. Flat. Certain. Not a question. Tara looked at Sarah. Sarah looked at Tara. "He is a little sad, yes," Tara said carefully. "But he's also... Can I go in?" The word no was already forming in Tara's mouth. Policy was clear. Kennel 14 was flagged. No unsupervised interaction. No children. Staff only. And even most staff kept their distance. But something made Tara pause. Maybe it was the way Lily was looking at Rex. Not with excitement. Not with the grabby energy that most kids brought to shelter visits. But with something older. Something quieter. Recognition. Tara radioed Karen Holloway. 30 seconds later, Karen was standing in the corridor. She looked at Lily. She looked at Kennel 14. She looked at Sarah. "I'll go in with her," Karen said. She had no idea why she said it. To this day, she still can't fully explain it. She just knew. The door opened. Rex didn't move. Karen entered first. Then Lily stepped inside. Sarah stayed at the door, her heart in her throat. Tara stood beside her, and without thinking, she pressed her hand against the cage bars. Karen expected Lily to approach Rex, to walk toward him, to call his name. That's what everyone always did. Instead, Lily walked to the center of the kennel floor, and she sat down, cross-legged, right in the middle. She put her one hand in her lap, and she was quiet. Karen froze. Rex's ear twitched, the first time in 2 years that his body had reacted to a human presence without flinching away from it. Lily didn't look at him. She just sat there, like she had nowhere else to be, like she was perfectly happy to wait. 1 minute passed, 2 minutes. Karen barely breathed. Then Rex turned his head, just slightly, just enough to see her with one eye. He saw a small girl sitting on his floor, one arm, yellow shirt, not reaching, not grabbing, not making noise, just sitting, being. Something shifted in his face, and then Rex did something that made Karen's hand fly to her mouth. He stood up. 2 years, 730 days. Rex had never voluntarily walked toward a human being, not once, but now he was standing, and his paws were moving, and slowly, one step, then another. His red collar caught the light as he moved through the kennel toward this tiny, quiet, one-armed girl sitting on his floor. Lily still didn't look at him. She was looking at her hand. Rex stopped 2 feet away. He sniffed the air. Then he lowered his head and he sniffed her hair. Lily smiled, eyes still down. "Hi," she said softly. Rex pulled his head back, looked at her, and then he did the most extraordinary thing. He lay down, right beside her, close enough that his fur was touching her leg, and he exhaled. This long, deep, shuddering exhale, like a creature releasing something it had been holding for 2 years. Lily reached over with her one hand, and she placed it gently on his side. Rex didn't flinch. He didn't move away. He closed his eyes. Outside the kennel, Tara had both hands pressed against her mouth. Karen was crying silently, tears running down her face without her even noticing. Sarah Mitchell was gripping the cage bars so hard her knuckles were white. None of them spoke, because none of them had words for what they were watching. After several minutes, Lily looked up at Karen. "He just didn't want anyone to grab him," she said. Karen stared at her. "He wanted someone to just sit," Lily continued, in that matter-of-fact 4-year-old way, like she was explaining something obvious. He wanted someone to just be there, without wanting anything. Karen Holloway had worked in animal rescue for 19 years. She had heard a lot of things, but she had never heard a 4-year-old child describe perfectly, precisely, what 2 years of professional behaviorists had failed to identify. Rex didn't have aggression issues. Rex had trust issues. He didn't need training. He needed someone to stop trying. Someone to just arrive and stay without agenda. And somehow, a little girl who had spent her whole life being the one people worried about, the one people handled carefully, the one people weren't sure how to approach, she understood that completely because she had felt it herself. Sarah Mitchell had not come to this shelter planning to adopt a dog with a 2-year behavioral flag. She had come for a puppy, probably. Something easy, something safe. But when Lily walked out of Kennel 14, with Rex padding calmly beside her, his shoulder leaning gently against her leg, Sarah didn't say a word. She just looked at her daughter, and her daughter looked up at her. "He needs us, Mama." That was all. The paperwork took 45 minutes. Karen waived 3 standard requirements that had been blocking Rex's adoption for 18 months, because those requirements, designed to protect animals from chaotic environments, no longer applied. Rex wasn't dangerous. Rex was just waiting for Lily. Karen Holloway received a video message on a Tuesday morning. She almost didn't open it because she was late for a staff meeting. But something made her click on it. It was Sarah Mitchell's kitchen. Sunny, warm, cereal boxes on the counter. And there was Lily, running through the kitchen in her pajamas, one arm swinging, laughing so hard she could barely breathe. Because Rex was chasing her. Not the hollow-eyed ghost from Kennel 14. This dog was different. His coat was filled out. His eyes were bright. His tail was a blur. He was running and jumping and completely, utterly, joyfully alive. Karen had to close her office door because she cried for 10 minutes. The kind of crying that has nothing sad in it. The kind that only comes when something that was broken finally heals. I want to stop here for a second, because this story could easily just be a feel-good video about a cute kid and a rescue dog, but it's not. What happened in Kennel 14 that afternoon is something that experts are still talking about. Because Lily Mitchell, a 4-year-old child, did something instinctively that trained adults had failed to do with strategy, technique, and years of experience. She made herself non-threatening, not by being smaller or quieter, but by removing her agenda entirely. She didn't go in to fix Rex. She didn't go in to save him. She went in to sit with him. And there is a lesson in that for every single one of us that goes way beyond dog shelters. How many people in your life are just like Rex? Curled in a corner, turned away, labeled difficult, broken, unreachable. Not because they are, but because everyone who came to them came with an agenda, came to fix, to help, to change, instead of just sitting down and staying. Lily is 5 now. Rex sleeps at the foot of her bed every single night. On the days when Lily feels frustrated, when kids at preschool stare at her arm, when things feel unfair and hard, Rex puts his head in her lap, and she puts her one hand on his back, and they just sit, like they did that first day on a cold kennel floor. 2 beings that the world had underestimated, reminding each other that they are enough, exactly as they are. If this story moved you even slightly, share it with one person today. Not because I want views, but because somewhere out there is someone sitting in their own corner, their own Kennel 14, just waiting for someone to come in and sit down without wanting anything. Be that person for someone today. And if you want more stories like this, stories that remind you what humans and animals are actually capable of, subscribe. Because we find these moments every single week, and the world needs them now more than ever.